Okay, so here's the second in a short series of videos about playing in open G tuning, and particularly for playing slide guitar and a bit of blues. We've understood in the first video about how we retune our guitar, so you now should have low to high D, G, D, G, B, and D. And you should have checked that that chord sounds good and everything's in tune with itself. Okay, so make sure that your guitar does sound in tune. Don't just lazily down tune 3 strings. Check all of them. Now we need to know a bit of fundamentals. In this tuning, it's similar to playing a 5-string banjo. And on a 5-string banjo, what looks like the lower string isn't. It's a drone string. And that's what we've now got here. Our 6th string is now a drone. It's a D note. Our lowest note of G is actually there on the open 5th string. So our G chord runs from the 5th string open to the 1st string. And if that's G, if we bar from the 5th string right across to the 1st string, we've got G sharp at the 1st fret, A at the 2nd fret, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, and so on up the neck. Okay, they just rise by a semitone. Conveniently, 5th fret and 7th fret have got markers, and our C chord is at the 5th fret, and our D chord is at the 7th fret. So you could play a very simple tune using 3 chords with just open, 5th fret and 7th fret. Very easy to remember. C at the 5th fret, D at the 7th fret. Okay, so let's now look at our chords in the open position and how we can do them to conclude this video. So we know A in standard tuning is those 3 strings, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. In standard tuning we would also play from the 5th string open, because that would be A, through to the 1st string, which is E. In this tuning we've got to put those notes back, and we do that simply by just barring. And we also know, because if that's G, 2 frets up, it must be A. Okay, we know where our B is, it's there, because A rises to A sharp and goes to B. C we learnt was there, but let's look where it is in the open position. So if we adopt a C shape as you would do on a standard tune guitar, a normal, ordinary C shape with 3 fingers. In this tuning, what we need to do is we need to take away the 3rd finger, because the 5th string at the nut is G. Okay, so we've now got a low G on our C chord with a suspended 2nd note on the 1st string of D. So we have this sound, lovely sound. Now say it's a suspended 2nd note because there's a D on the 1st string. So C, D, it's a suspended 2nd with a low G. You could put the E note back in, which is there, and create that, and that will sound exactly like a C chord with a low G on your standard tune guitar. But you have to ask yourself, what's the point in making every chord sound the same as on your standard tune guitar? There should be a difference in sound, and I like that suspended sound. It just adds a little bit of a difference to when you're playing songs. So there's our C there. Looks like A minor 7, or looks like C minus the 3rd finger. And C is also there at the 5th fret. So let's move on to D. D, we know in standard tuning, is the first 3 strings. But in this tuning, we no longer need to hold down the 1st string. So we'll take this finger off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace where my 1st finger is, there on the 3rd string. I'm going to use my 2nd finger to make that note. So look, just a quick change, like that. Okay, so that's how it was. Get rid of the 1st string. Use the 2nd finger to replace the 1st finger. Leaves your 1st finger free now to hold down the 5th string at the 2nd fret, and therefore you've now got a low D. So we have a D, and then we have an A, and so on through the notes, and we get this lovely sound. Okay, and just to remind you, 5th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 2nd fret, 2nd string, 3rd fret. Beautiful sound. Okay, so that's our D. E and F are a little bit awkward, so let's look at E first. E would be done like this in standard tuning, but what we need to do is we need to only play 4 strings. So we're going to get rid of the 5th, which we know is dropped. So I'm going to refinger. There's no point in me doing it like that. There's the E shape. I'm going to put this finger there like so. So I'm holding down the 3rd string at the 1st fret and the 4th string at the 2nd fret. And if I put the 3rd finger on the 1st string of the 2nd fret and play from the 4th string, I'll get this sound, which is my E chord basically. So look, do that again. There's E in standard tuning. We can't play the 6th and we can't play the 5th. So we take the 2nd finger off the 5th string. It leaves you these 2 fingers, 1 and 3. That's awkward. Replace the 3rd finger with your 2nd. So finger 2 is going to hold down this 4th string. Finger 3 can then hold down the 1st string. So you've got 3rd string, 4th string, 1st string. Play from the 4th string only. So that's the restriction. You can only play it in this simple way from the 4th string. It won't sound right if you put the 5th or the 6th in. You can hear, it just doesn't sound right. So you can't play those 2 strings. You've got to play from the 4th. Similarly, your F chord, if we were doing it standard, would look like so. What we're going to do is we're going to think about these. This 1st string is altered, the 2nd and 3rd haven't. So if we've got that shape as our F in standard tuning, what we will do is only hold down the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings like an F major 7 shape. But what we'll do is use the little finger to hold down an F note at the 3rd fret, because remember this string is dropped, so it's D, D sharp, E, F. So if we hold that one down with the little finger and we make an F major 7 with those 3 fingers, and again only play from the 4th string. So there's our F. And finally G is there. We could do an alternate with that and actually put that note in. Remember what that note is? It's standard, hasn't altered. So that's a B note, C, C sharp, D. So if we put a D note into our G, we get this. And that sounds really nice, that, because you got 2 notes the same. And just to conclude, notice what I'm doing there with my thumb. The thumb is not holding down a note, it's acting as a damper on that low string. So I hear from the G through. And even if I touch that 6th string, you're not going to hear it because I've dulled it. Okay? So practice those chords. A, B, C, C, D, remember the low, D, E, remember that was the awkward one. You remember how to do it? Make your normal E chord, drop that finger, put that one in, 4th string. F, remember that was a similar approach. And G, alternate G with an added D. So try them through and we'll come back with video 3.